Nikki, my business is now ready for sale. I've done all of the things that you've told me to do. I've planned, I've done everything. So it's now ready for sale. How do I get my business in the view of potential buyers?
Okay, so this is the full marketing process because we really want to try and do a full marketing process to maximize the choice that you'll have for a buyer and to hopefully maximize the sale value. So we would normally talk about a four-stage process, and this is typically what most brokers would go through. Firstly, they would create an information memorandum. This is really crucial. This is your first thing that the buyers, it's the thing that's going to titillate the buyer. Think about, is that business interesting to me? Is it going to be something that I particularly want to buy? And it's going to have some core information. It's going to be anonymous usually, but it give enough information for a potential buyer to think, oh, yeah, that looks quite interesting. I'd like to know more. Then within that, once the buyer comes later on, there will be a lot more detailed information as well. So you've got sort of two stages on that. You've got a short version and then you've got a really long detailed version for when you've qualified a buyer and you want to engage more detail. The second part is advertising online. So there's various ways that you can do that. You can there's a lot of platforms. So most brokers will be subscribing to the main platforms. Some of them are industry specific, some of them are general. So, the brokers will be aware of what are the most effective platforms out there. Thirdly, what's often a good way is looking at the industry publications, and you sort of can go two ways there. It can be potentially advertising directly in those industry publications, or it may be approaching those publications to share their client list, and so you have a mailing list from them, so you can potentially buy that from them so that you can target people in that particular industry directly. Finally, is reaching out to potential buyers directly. And this goes in tandem with the previous areas. So this will be a mixture of direct mail. So it will be going out to, there's multiple different databases that you can identify the potential buyers, or and your brokers will have active buyers that they know as well on their database, so they will be able to pull out from there and go, okay, these are the ones that we think that we want to target. So that will be one, the traditional direct mail. There will be also, on LinkedIn and things like that is often now a very common platform for going direct, and this usually will be in conjunction with the other ones, because what you often do is, somebody might receive a letter, but they might not necessarily just action upon that. If they've had a letter about it, so they're sort of got it in the back of their mind, but then they get approached on LinkedIn, or they see it on one of the database, the sales platforms, often you do need to have multiple touches. We've got a classic example where we had approached a potential buyer for one of our sales, and they had been sent the usual direct mails but hadn't responded to it. However, as we knew people in there through our network, we approached them directly, and actually it ended up being a very positive conversation and having an offer from them, because of having that personal connection. Now, all of that, when you start having the personal connection and going direct, it is very time consuming, but that is exactly why you generally want to use a broker.